What is going on, Degen Nation? Ken and Kim here, bringing you another Fantasy Golf Degenerates podcast this week for the Charles Schwab Challenge. As usual, I am here with everybody's favorite South African, Byron Lindeque. Byron, what is up, my friend?
Jenny, you're starting to roll it off your tongue like Xander Schauffele is a major winner. You know, like everybody's favorite sentence in the world. What is going on? I'm salty. I've had some hard stances against Xander. I've had some matchups where he's finished second and Rory beat him in the matchup, and then he goes and wins the major. So I'm salty, but we still had a good week. Bryson cashing out each way, some good placement bets there on breaking 100 side of things. Sam Burns sucks in majors as always, and it's a good week to be a non-outright better. So as always, I'm happy. Ish.
Before I talk about what happened this week, let's have a word. We are sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code Mayo. Get yourself a deposit match up to $250. Make sure you go to underdogfantasy.com. Yeah, for my week, it wasn't that great. So Bryson winning was probably like a $3,200 swing. I ended up losing $1,200, which is like the most I've lost this year in a week by a lot. And the thing is, I still hit the Bryson each way to keep the streak. The heater's over, but the streak is still live.
Yes.
We're at 9 straight weeks with hitting an outright. I've had 4 outrights and 11 each way hits in those 9 weeks. And I've had at least one every week for 9 weeks. I'm trying to make it 10 weeks in a row. We'll see if that happens. That was basically the only bright spot. Our Underdog Fantasy bet that I had for the first round. The first couple of guys hit really easy. And then it was up to Matthew Fitzpatrick, who I had over 2.5 bogeys. He bogeyed 2 of the first 4 holes. And it didn't bogey the rest. Went bogey free the rest of the time. I was bitter. I knew once that happened, this was not probably going to be a good week. And then, of course, I had the other underdog one on the final round. Connors hit the 12.5 greens really easy. Morikawa under 2 bogeys really easy. And then, of course, Xander did what I did not think Xander could do. I had under 5 bogeys. He got 7. And kudos to Xander. I know I lost a lot of money because of him, but it was good seeing him win this event. To try to get that monkey off of his back. You can sort of literally tell, like, when that putt went in, which it almost didn't. On 18. That thing was literally, if it was probably 6 inches farther, longer of a putt, it's not going in. It's not going in. But, you know, it went around the world, went in, and literally when they showed Xander, you could see like his, like the weight, like just come off, like literally, like physically, like you could almost see it come off of his shoulders. I don't know. People said that, like, you know, calling him a choke artist, a loser, blah, 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 wasn't correct. I think it's correct. I don't think it is now. Once you get the win, you're off the hook. But before you get the win, you're a fucking loser. That's just the way it is, right? I mean, yeah, Ricky Fowler, majors, loser. You know, Tony Finau, majors, loser, right?
Yeah.
There's really nothing going. Yeah, that's what they are. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just thinking prior to last weekend, you always new information. If you stand by what you've said and there's new information present and you still obnoxiously, stubbornly stick by your guns, you're not going to succeed as a bettor. You're not going to be a good person in life. You have to change once new information is presented to you. Yesterday, we found out new information and Xander can close out the deal. It seems.
I mean, the thing is, after 10, a 10 was so crazy because literally that's exactly what happened to
That's what he does.
Like the 10th hole at the Wells Fargo, he hits it into the sand and does some stupid ass shit. And then from then on, it just goes downhill, right?
Yeah.
On the 10th hole today, on the 10th hole yesterday, on Sunday, he hits it into the bunker, ends up bogeying the par 5 10th, which is one of the easiest holes on the course. You're like, well, here we go.
Yeah.
This is I think he had 3 birdies at that point in time. And I was like, I got a chance. Right? I was like, once he did, I was like, this could go really well. And then he birdied 11 and 12. And when he did that, I was like, okay, he's gonna win. He's gonna win. Because I mean that's just sort of like anti-Xander right there, right? Just to come up that clutch in a situation like that where the last 2 times in huge events, the players, he was in the lead, going into the back 9, or close to it. Wells Fargo, signature event, in the lead, going into the back 9, fucks it up and it goes downhill, and that's what you're expecting. But no, he comes back, birdies 11 and 12, which was huge. Comes through, plays the rest clean, and then, of course, 18. This is where you sort of get the idea of the course not being what we'd expect a major course to be. Because like the live he had and the stance that he had, there's just not enough trouble on that hole, right? Like once you got to like 16 or 15, I mean 17 is a little bit difficult, but like once you got to 15, I was like, it's probably over. Then Bryson made, hit that and did his thing on the last couple of holes and just barely made that putt on 18. And here's the thing about that putt. That had to have been an accident. Had to have been an accident. Had to have been a miss hit for Bryson, because here's the thing. You're on 18, right? You're down by 1. You have a
drill it in the back
footer, and you hit a putt that barely rolls over the lip in? I don't think
Yes.
I don't think so.
He hit an 8-foot or 10-foot putt 9 feet, I think, is what happened.
He missed it. He missed it. He missed that putt. He's not hit that the way he wanted to hit that. I guarantee you that. But it worked out, right? It worked out. And he got it, and I was really hoping for a playoff, but Xander, kudos to him, made that birdie. Other people, Justin Rose, really, really good. Looked real strong out there. Something to look at this week. Hovland, I guess that's somebody we have to talk about now, right? Goes back with Joe Mayo.
Yeah.
And automatically becomes the Hovland of old. Like, how stupid was he to
leave?
Yeah. Like,
and how stupid is golf, Kenny, is the fact that is the missing piece.
Yeah.
It's the mayonnaise to the sandwich, right? Joe Mayo. Like, he's like, I want ketchup, I want mustard. No, mayo, brother. Ham,
and like,
lettuce,
it's only
mayo.
like a week of practicing with him.
Yeah. It's
like Joe Mayo's
saying,
Instagram. You see Joe Mayo's Instagram, like after Saturday, I am pleased. That's exactly what he wrote on his Instagram. Like,
or it could be,
no
I
shit,
am God.
Cost like just fucking triple. Right?
Yes.
And I think like, Jesus Christ, you can't have better fucking marketing than what happened to Joe Mayo with Victor Hovland. Yeah, it's the best marketing he's ever had in his life. He's going to make so much fucking money off this. There's been a lot of, what you think of the event?
Let's chat about the course being -21 winning. To me, I'm not an architectural snob. I'm not a guy that's like begging for tough conditions. Majors are when you get them. If it doesn't happen one of the 4 majors, so be it. I thoroughly enjoyed every single shot that was hit this week. I don't care. I enjoyed the golf. Yes, would I have enjoyed it had it played a touch harder? Sure. But that wasn't the be-all and end-all for me. And also, we have to remember, it's been raining like crazy there, and the wind hardly blew the entire week. Okay. Those are 2 very important things for golf.
I understand that, but it's rained at other PGA Championships before.
Yeah.
It's been soft at other PGA Championships before.
Yeah.
The total cumulative score to par for the field, the lowest it's ever been was Riviera in 97 for the PGA Championship. The total field combined plus 40. So they were 40 over par.
Yeah.
The field this week was 217 under par. So they beat second place by 250 strokes.
Yeah.
Now,
Sure.
like, the problem I had, it was entertaining. It was very entertaining. Every event that we've had here has been super fun to watch. So that's something to be said about this course and bringing it back. We'll see after the Scotty fiasco, but we'll see if they bring it back. And the fact that the PGA of America does not own this course anymore. They used to own this course. They sold it. They don't own this course anymore. They own Frisco now in San Francisco. That's why you're seeing that 2 times every 7 years, starting next year, or 2 years from now. The next year's Quail. And so the problem I have with that course is it didn't punish bad shots enough.
Yes.
Like, you could still be soft conditions, but you could still hit it in places where it's going to be a half stroke minimum penalty. There was nothing
that
like
bogey that Xander did, I think, was it hole 2 or hole 4, where he was feet from the hazard line, was almost in the hazard, hits his ball into the bunker, and gets away with the 4 on the hardest hole. You know, like to me, that was like, God damn it, that should have easily.
That's the problem I have.
You know, like,
now everyone plays the same calls. Everyone plays the same. There's no asterisks here. Xander deserves this fucking major. He earned this major. He played the same conditions that everybody else played. But this is from a personal aspect for me. Like when I watch a major, like I knew there was no chance that Xander was going to bogey like the last 5 holes. Like it was virtually impossible unless he did some really fucking stupid shit, right?
And he hit some bad shots that weren't like online, Kenny, either.
Yeah.
They were like kind of offline, and he still got away with them. You know, like those kind of shots that you need. This was a perfect storm. No Scotty Scheffler in the final pairings either, right? Like without Ted Scott, I mean, Ted Scott and Joe Mayo are basically the same people because they hold the 2 worlds that they suck together so well together. Scotty not in the final pairing there. He would have been in the mix with Ted Scott, you know, in round 3. Then you get Xander just going birdie, 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 birdie. Like that helped him stay out of neutral as well, right? Because what does Xander get on these like Wells Fargo tracks? He goes and shoots like 1 under on the back 9. You know, like doesn't get it done. With all these birdies having to keep going, he was golden, you know, and the only person that was tied with him was Colin Morikawa, who made 1 birdie all day.
Yeah, he was playing like it was a U.S. Open. Yeah. Like it was like a single digit under par, like U.S. Open. This is the way. Yeah. Because he hit everything. He hit a bunch of greens. He had a bunch of fairways. Just had 25 footers for birdie all day.
Lost 3.5 putting. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just not going to cut it.
No.
Bryson was amazing. So much fun to watch. He basically jumped to superstar status this past week. Everyone's turned their head. I've always liked Bryson just because he was quirky. He was different. He brought something new to the table. And like, I like the fact that golfers I like are golfers that people either hate or love. Like those are the type of golfers that need to be more prevalent on the PGA Tour. These type of divisive type golfers where you either hate them or you love them. And you know, we're missing guys like that. Now everyone's just plain vanilla. Basically is what we're going down to. It's like going to the milkshake store, just getting a fucking vanilla shake, not even a malt, not even adding the fucking malt. I like a good vanilla milkshake every now and then, but throw some malt in that bitch, something, right? You know, so
I'm a big malt guy, love it.
Yeah. So you know, really nice. It really sucks not seeing him on a weekly basis, and I think I'm going to tune in more into Live now just to watch him. I want to see him more. I want to see his game. I want to see what he does. He's just so exciting out on the course. He brings so much emotion. And you got these guys out here that are just emotionless. You know, like Scotty, what a great player. But like, you can't tell if he's winning a tournament or if he got hit by a car or if he got arrested for no reason. Like, you can't tell the fucking difference. Like, what's going on? Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, how do you get arrested in that situation? Like, in my opinion, there's no way the cop is legit, right? Scotty's not dragging some fucking cop like 30 yards down the street. I mean, that shit's not happening. Maybe he drove for a little bit with the guy's arm in there and it was just a misunderstanding, but like, this is Scotty fucking Scheffler, right? So I'd be pissed if I was Scotty. I'd be like, what the fuck? You guys are I'm the number 1 goddamn fucking player in the world, right? I have a PGA fucking courtesy car. What the fuck are you fucking police officers doing? And, you know, Louisville Police Department, not the greatest rep, right? Right? Not the greatest rep in the last few years, rest in peace, Breonna Taylor. So, like I would be pissed. And like what Scotty did was like, oh, he thanked the police officer. Like, thank you for arresting me. I appreciate it. Thank you. Gracias that you arrest. Like, what? I love Scotty. He's the greatest player in the world. He's just, there's no juice with him. Nothing. There's nothing with him. And
he's developing something though, Kenny.
I thought he was until he fucking apologized to the police officers for getting fucking arrested.
He's
like,
becoming
what the fuck, dude?
Mr. Nice Guy. Like, that's his thing. It's like he's so nice and likable that the fact that he's got this lockup now on his rap sheet, literally, we've got like this the spiciness with Scotty. You know, like Scotty made it to jail and now he's back. And now we've got like a leveled up Scotty a touch. So I'm ready for it, man. I think he's found the fans' adoration even more so.
I'm sure he did. He got a
what
boost.
he did, Kenny. That is one of the greatest rounds of golf ever.
Ever.
Like, you can't tell me that I've done some dumb shit on the way to a golf course. I've like skipped through a light, almost got into a wreck, blah, blah, blah. I've never been locked up on the way to a PGA championship that I was leading, basically, almost. And then going shooting whatever, 67 or 5 under par or whatever. Like, just
I've been
incredible.
locked up a few times. I will say that the majority, I never stepped foot in a jail cell. I've been arrested like 6 times. Never sat in the jail cell. Weird. I'm sort of like Scotty Scheffler.
Okay.
Because like he got arrested, he went to jail, and then the owner of Valhalla picked him up like 35 minutes later and brought him back to the course. That's happened to me like every single time I've gotten arrested. Like I remember one time I got arrested when I was working at a bar in Roanoke. I missed like a court date for like a possession charge, like when I was like 25, whatever.
Yeah.
Cops came to get me, right? And they're like, fine, whatever. And so I go, they arrest me, magistrate, whatever, does his thing. And they're like, who could pick you up? I called our regular at the bar. He came.
You called the regular at the bar?
Probably drunk. Probably drunk. He came, picked me up. I was back at the bar in like 40 minutes working my shift again.
Let's go.
Every single time I've gotten arrested, it's happened like that. I don't know why.
Wow.
There's some outlying reasons I think of. One could be, I don't know. It could be race related. Well, it could be. I don't know. I know this fucking goofy ass Korean guy with glasses. Is he really going to cause any trouble? Just fucking let him go. Now, by like the 27th charge, they probably should have figured something out, but they didn't. They just kept letting my ass go every single time. That's my, been to jail story a few times. Actually, I've been to jail, never stepped foot in a cell. Never stepped foot in a cell.
That's the ultimate balancing act there, Kenny. Yeah. If that's living in the gray area.
Like it's weird. Like so when I was so I got possession charge. I was on probation for like a year. I had to take VASAP, which is like a drug course for like 3 months, and then when you take that course, you interview with like a drug rep, and then that drug rep tells you whether you have to take an additional drug course. Like I was in that VASAP class with like 18 people down in Roanoke. 17 of them had to take that class. I did not.
Kenny.
I don't know why. So I got lucky in my time with these police officers back in the day. Sort of like Scheffler. Not really lucky in the getting arrested part, but getting back to the course in that short amount of time. I mean, doing stretches in the goddamn cell, getting a sandwich from the fucking police officer. I mean, he was ready to go. Like he was ready. He just did his warm up like in the cell. The jumpsuit was weird, right? Because normally when you take a mug shot, which you can Google me in Roanoke. There's been quite a few of mine. I'm just wearing my regular clothes. Like I said, like they never fucking put me in. They never searched me. They never, told me to pull my cheeks apart and cough. None of that shit, right? So it was weird stuff. But anyways,
it's the Nike tick.
What?
The Nike tick, right? It's the check. It's the ambassador endorsement, surely, because that check is going to show up in the photo for sure.
So you think that's why he asked to not?
Oh, 1,000%, dude. Like, there's no way he wants Nike as like in a mugshot. Like, you know how bad that is for publicity?
That makes a shit ton of sense.
Yeah.
I did not think of that at all. That makes so much sense.
It's literally the only logo he has on his clothes. Yeah.
We're like, yeah, fuck this dude. Let's put him in a jumpsuit before he goes and fucking takes his fucking mugshot. I did not think of that. You're probably 100% right on that because Nike, I don't know. Nike probably wasn't hype.
It's his only sponsor.
They probably could have made money off that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if it was a good or bad thing for Nike, but at that moment in time, I'm sure what he's thinking is, I can't be rocking a Nike shit
Yes.
when I'm about to get a mug shot. All right, that makes a lot of sense. I did not even think about that.
If you just take a look at Scotty's wedge game, his good shot rate, very low. His poor shot avoidance rate, very high. I'm assuming that's the same situation when you're thinking about, do I wear my Nike polo in a mug shot or not?
He's just mentally, he just knows everything.
Middle of the green. Let's go. Yeah.
Wow. I did not think of that. All right. I mean, other guys who played well, you got Nord, who I like, that was up there. Thiegler sort of faded at the end. Keegan really hurt me because I had a top 12 each way on him, and he was one stroke off of that. So that one hurt. Of course, Hovland, Detry. Detry is like 4 top 10s in the last 8 events on wildly different courses. Like, this guy's got a chance. I'm thinking about adding him to the betting card. I haven't added him yet, but he's someone I am thinking about. I don't know exactly what his number is. But it's probably, I would expect like 40 to 60. Let's take a peek here. Detry is 60 to 1. You could still get 55 with 8 places. I'm probably going to add that bet. It's probably going to be my final bet of my card. But any other things about this event that we need to talk about before we move on?
Kenny, I went single entries, 3 entry maxes. I had Colin and Sahith, T1 and T3 going into the final round. I was making $550 with my $12 entry, and then Colin made 1 birdie the whole day, and Sahith the Gala played over par golf. Like, my 2 guys I needed to come through. Brooks was also in that lineup. Like, that lineup had so much potential that they just did not. Like, Sahith was very disappointing. I'm actually very disappointed in how he handled himself.
I think this was the first time he was really in like one of the final 2 pairings. I think even when he finished well at the Masters, I think that was a lot of Sunday, right?
Yeah,
I don't think he was in like one of the final pairings. No. This is like one of the first times. He'll learn from this.
Yeah,
he'll get better.
That's why major experience is important.
Yeah, I think so too. He will get better. He will improve. Speaking of Hovland, you could still get out there 20 to 1 for the U.S. Open. I know a lot of people are worried about the green complexes and around the green at Pinehurst, where it eats those upside down bowls with the short cut fairway around, which is a lot different than what we saw at Valhalla. And we did speak about how having the rough around the greens makes chipping a little bit easier. But if he's smart, he goes the Martin Keimer route at Pinehurst and putts everything. I mean, like, putt it, get it within 4 feet, and make your 3 to 6 footers. That's what it's going to take for him, and he made a bunch of those yesterday until the 18th hole. But before that, his putter looked really, really strong. And that's why I think he could still get away at Pinehurst, even with those conditions around the green, because people are going to miss those greens plenty. And then we could see, and I think the Texas wedge, we've seen it work. We've seen it win the event, right? I don't see why more people outside of embarrassment. Is it like, should you be embarrassed because you're using a Texas wedge? I don't know. But it just seems smart to use that ploy. We'll see how it goes, and it's only about 3 weeks till the U.S. Open. This is the quickest break between 2 majors. We only got 3 events. We got this week. We got Canada next week. We got the Memorial, and then we're off. We're at Pinehurst.
Let's go.
Yeah. So thinking about that again. Anything else, or are we moving on?
That's it for me.
All right. So let's move on to our underdog segment of the day. So, of course, last week we did talk about underdog and how much it hurt me personally. Did not go well. I don't think you won yours either.
Cam Smith hit his over and Sahith went under. The complete opposite. Like wacky Friday stuff,
It's tough in those, because you're not really sure what you're going to get with the course.
Yeah.
And again, we're not really sure what we're going to get with the course this week either, with the totally new renovation, all the new grass, the new heated greens, that should keep the greens dry. Now, here's the thing. We'll talk about this in a second. But since we are talking about this upcoming week and these underdog plays, all the grass was redone at that course. And when new grass is laid on greens, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be extremely firm and extremely bouncy. Like, bouncy is in like the first hops we saw at Wells Fargo, at Quail Hollow, this past a couple of weeks ago. Like when I first saw the ball bounce at Quail Hollow off a wedge, I was like, what the fuck? Right? Like these balls were like bouncing, like literally like 4 feet in the air from like a wedge, right? And I think we could see something like that this week, but the only issue is, of course, Wednesday they're supposed to have torrential, flood-damaging rain in Fort Worth. So is that enough to keep the green soft and make it a little bit easier? Because the thing about this course is from 150 in, it is the lowest green irregulation percentage on tour from 150 in, right? Because of how small the greens are and how firm the greens usually are. Like, so if the greens are normally firm and you put new grass on it, they should be even firmer, which could make this with 25 to 30 mile per hour gusts every day.
Yeah.
This could be complete carnage, like crazy carnage, like the total opposite of what we saw at a fucking major last week. And again, we'll go over that. So just think about that while I'm going over these plays, and then I will go over all my thoughts on the course here in just a few minutes. But here's my underdog play for round pick'em play for round one. It's going to be Tony Finau higher than 3.5 birdies. Again, the first hole on the course is basically an auto birdie. Like, if you don't birdie that hole, something's fucking wrong, right? And so, in my eyes, he only needs 3 other birdies to be able to get the job done, because one is such an easy hole, right? And he's had success at this event with multiple top 10s. So I'm going to go, and he showed some shit last week, right? He showed me a little something. His game looks like it's trending in the right direction, right?
Very dug in.
Yeah. And so I'm going to go ahead and have Tony Finau higher than 3.5 birdies or better. Next, it's going to be another course horse who I think can play this course really, really well. It's going to be Brian Harman, higher than 3 birdies. Again, he just needs 2 birdies, in my opinion, to tie, right? Because, again, one, I think is going to be everyone should birdie that hole. And then Min-Woo Lee, higher than 3 bogeys or worse. This just doesn't feel like a Min-Woo course to me, right? His big thing is length. Now, he does like shaping the ball. So if he can get hot with his driving iron, shaping it left and right, okay, then we have a little bit to worry. But still, if the course is tough, the last 2 finishes were 40th and a missed cut here. So I'm going to go more than 3 bogeys for Min-Woo in that round. This is going to pay around 6.5, somewhere around there. So once again, Tony Finau higher than 3.5 birdies or better. Brian Harman higher than 3.3 birdies or better. Min-Woo higher than 3 bogeys or worse. Byron, where are you going this one?
All right. So I'm going the kind of opposite way, but with different guys. So I've got 3 dudes, all for bogeys or worse, and they all 3 are lower. Scotty Scheffler, he ain't making a bogey, or at least making more than 2 bogeys. Lower than 2.5 bogeys for Scotty Scheffler. Lower than 3.5 bogeys for Denny McCarthy, and lower than 3.5 bogeys for Keith Mitchell. For me, Scotty, if he ever makes more than 2 bogeys in a round, it's because Ted Scott isn't on the bag. I'd imagine he's going to be there 4 straight go-rounds this time round. Denny McCarthy, this guy is a scrappy scrambler. 3.5 bogeys for me. Like, for him to make 4 bogeys in 18 holes of golf is going to be tricky, especially like you said, Kenny. Like,
he did it pretty easily last week.
Well, yeah.
Because I had a bunch of them.
But he did
it pretty fucking easily last week.
Yes, that's a good point. Let's hope for Denny to show up at this golf course like this.
Picks, because you're going with 2 guys. You're going 2 guys who did not look good last week.
No. Well, the thing is, Keith didn't do enough on the birdie front. These 2 guys, I think maybe if they're chasing birdies, don't quite have it. Like, the way Keith drives the ball, that helps you avoid bogeys like crazy. Like, he's such an elite driver of the golf ball, even at a short course like this.
Well, I feel like his iron play is probably more important here, and his iron play has been amazing too.
And that iron play is going to come from the fairways. So that's, who knows what happens. If you make 4 bogeys from the middle of the fairway, good on you, Keith, But I just think Scotty, to make less than 2 bogeys is perfect. And then we just take our chances with Denny and Keith. Like you said, Kenny, We don't know what this course. We've got torrential rain and brand new greens. Who the heck knows where we're going? We're doing this on a Monday
with supposedly top of the line heating under the greens.
Yeah. So we don't know. Maybe it's an easier week than we expect, but I don't know. I'm curious to see what your take is on this course and how you've identified certain holes that have been lengthened and things like that. But Scotty Scheffler, lower than 2.5 bogeys or worse. Denny McCarthy, lower than 3.5 bogeys or worse. And Keith Mitchell, lower than 3.5 bogeys or worse. That will pay you out 4.67. So we need to get back on the board here and see what our boys can get up to.
I feel good about mine, but we'll see. Before we move on, producer Mike, let's pay some bills. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. It's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. I personally like the Pick'em games. Pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. Can win up to 100 times your money in a single night. Pick between 2 and 5 players to build a Pick'em entry. Can also make rivals picks, which pits 2 players against each other. Now, the reason I like the Pick'em games is because of these things called scorchers. There's these little chili peppers next to the golfers' names, and if you click on that, it adds to your multiplier, so you can win even more money. Sign up today with promo code Mayo and get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant Pick'em special. Must be 18 or over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right, so let's do our betting segment for the day. Hey, if anyone wants to sponsor our betting segment, we are open. There is no sponsor for the betting segment yet, so just giving you guys a heads up out there. If anyone wants to put their money in, we will be more than happy to take it. Just to let you know. All right, so our betting segment, I'll go ahead with my card for this week, and then Byron has all of his goodies. And then I know you hit that, your Breaking 100 was positive last week.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you can check that out on his, Rotoballer and online, right?
Yeah.
On your X account every single week. So my bets for this week, and my card's pretty fucking full already. Here's my betting strategy that I've been going with in this little streak that I've been having. What I've been doing is when the numbers come out Monday morning, and they first come out, I don't do any research. I look at the numbers, and just based on my golf knowledge and the type of what I think I know and what I think the course is going to play, I make some choices right there, then and there. Like just first gut feeling type choices, no research. Now, usually it's like 2 or 3 guys, right? Because I'm not completely sure what's going to happen. I'm not really completely sure what's going to happen this week. But when I looked at everything this week, I was like, man, that number looks okay for this guy. Man, that number looks okay for this guy. I got like 8 bets. So my card, full, right? Okay. So, so basically I did this all on gut, no research. So we will see how this goes because I did the research afterwards. Okay. And then I looked and I'm like, these guys will be fine.
That's perfect.
But
you're going to have to change to Gut Corner this weekend, not Gups Corner. It's going to have to be Guts Corner.
The Guts Corner instead of Gups Corner. All right, so here's what I got. I got Finau 30-1, 8 places. Harmon 35-1, 8 places. Rose 35-1, 8 places. Bez 45-1, 8 places. Ekro 60-1, 8 places. Okay, I have Brendan Todd 80-1. I think I'm going to drop that and add Detry 55-1 with 8 places. And then I got Novak 140-1, 8 places. And my favorite 6K play, one of my cash game cornerstones, Dylan Wu 160-1, 8 places. Byron, what you got this week?
Okay, Kenny. When I have 8 outrights, my fingers hate me because it means my article needs 8 outright type ups. But
hey, that's a good thing for me. I just write the name.
Oh my god! Because like
majors, I'll do a write up.
Yeah. having to
Wait,
type
just
all
get the
that
name,
stuff
that's
out,
it.
it's just like, and you're typing out
Listen to the
about.
pod if you want to know why.
Okay. Okay. So
there you go.
let me rattle off a few outrights here. It's going to be an interesting week for me. And like you said, Kenny, I'm in full agreement with you. When it comes to betting outrights, I typically go off of a gut feel. Trying to use a model or anything for outrights is tricky. I kind of use my eyes and go from there. We do so much golf stuff that we have this information baked into our own computer brain. We can just wake up on a Monday morning and kind of feel what's right or wrong. So here we go. My number one guy and the majority of my card is going to Colin Morikawa at 14-1. Then I'm going Sepp Straka at 45-1, Billy Horschel at 60-1, Keegan Bradley at 70, and Lee Hodges at 125-1. So, Colin Morikawa, when I took a look at the key stats for this week and I saw the majority of shots come from 125 to 200, and that major type track record, a major type golf course that has all the distance from 200 and out, where Colin's been struggling from, give me Colin Morikawa inside that range where he's still elite from. Now we've got Colin, if you've taken a look at what he's got up to at the Charles Schwab in the past. Impressive iron play, but the short game, chipping and putting, has been ass. He's totally changed that around now. He's a very good short game specialist, and I think that's going to help him around a venue where you can miss a lot of greens as an elite iron player still, right? So we're going to get that condensed approach proximity numbers for Colin, which he's been struggling from 200 and out. We're going to kick those all to the curb. We hardly get any of those this week. I want 125 to 200 for Colin Morikawa. Give me that short game. He's going to be super accurate off the tee. We know that that's his thing. Then basically a chunkier but light version of Colin is Sepp Straka, who is very accurate off the tee, can get sizzling hot with his irons, and who knows what happens from there. He's 45-1, right? Billy Horschel, if you think about positional golf courses, this is what Billy Horschel does. Tough places where you have to scramble, get up and down, bogeys, pars, avoid your bogeys. Billy Horschel, here's your guy. Keegan Bradley led the PGA Championship in strokes gained off the tee last week. He's 70-1 at a golf course that's going to require accuracy off the tee. He's got that, and he's got incredible iron play. And then Lee Hodges, this guy's very accurate, and his iron play last week was very impressive. I'm looking, a good performance in a major for someone that hasn't typically shown that can just give these guys confidence the following week. And that's where, Kenny, you can't really put that into a model, right? Like, okay, Lee Hodges played well at the PGA Championship. That's going to make him so much more confident this week. You can't tell your model to do that. You can, but at the end of the day, you've got to watch and see. So those are my guys. I'm going all in basically on Colin and giving him a bunch of long shot supporting casting characters, but I think Colin gets it done, man. And I don't bet him a lot. Very disappointed what he got up to on Sunday, but at this golf course, I think his skill set's too good. He could potentially pull away and kind of just...
You sold me because I was going to play Scheffler, and I had no clue who else I was going to play in that 10K range. So you just sold me on that.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
But I know you got some more. You got some more?
Yeah. I'll throw out a few more bets. The model kicked out a ton of bets, but I had to whittle it down. So we're going Scotty Scheffler, and this is the fun part about Scotty Scheffler. Minus 260 for a top 10. I'm going to be betting $26 of my 100 in my Breaking 100 article on Scotty Scheffler. The implied probability of minus 260 is 72%. Scotty Scheffler in the last 12 months is finishing inside the top 10 at an 84% rate. So you still...
$26 on minus 260. What do you get back? $10?
10.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get 10 plus your buy-in? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Scotty Scheffler, Kenny, if you bet to win $100 for a top 20 bet every single bet Scotty Scheffler's played, you would have won $1,150. The same with the top 10 and top 5. Like every single one of those markets are $1,000 returns. Xander Schauffele is the next best returning golfer, and all of his markets combined just get over $1,000. So that's just how elite Scotty's been in his top 5 and top 10. So give me Scotty at a top 10 number. I'm going to take a lot of my equity, throw it over there, and then I'm going to toss out a few shorter options over here. Max Homer for a top 20. Max Homer's been crushing the top 20 market. He's doing it basically 2 of every 3 starts. We get plus 105 at a watered down field. Let's be honest here. It's 137 people, 135 people. Not the greatest field in the world. So give me Max Homer for another top 20. He's been basically doing it every 2 over 3. Lucas Glover for a top 40 at minus 125. Also doing it 2 of 3 starts. And I'm going to dive into my Babbelas bets here right now. he's going to be the call because Patrick Rogers was our top 40 guy. We paired him with Will Zalatoris and Xander. They both finished inside the top 40. Rogers missed the cut at his first PGA Championship. So we got 4 guys this week, and they're all top 40 bets. These are like some of the highest top 40 rates in the field. Siwoo Kim, Max Homer, Adam Scott, and our core guy is going to be Lucas Glover. Lucas Glover, 2 out of every 3 starts is a top 40. He's just a blue-collar guy. Goes and gets his paycheck, calls it a day. Doesn't have that high-end finishes outside of what we saw, the playoffs and stuff. But these dudes are all 60% and above, 64% and above top 40 rates. So those 4 guys are 6-1 return or a top 40 little parlay for fun stuff there. And then I'm going to wrap up the rest here. I'm going Denny McCarthy top 10, Kenny. This guy's finished inside the top 10 in 3 of every 10 starts. He has these like upside weeks. So at plus 425, give me Denny McCarthy for a top 10. Brian Harmon has finished top 30 in 8 of his last 9 starts. Or top 31. He's had 131st place finish. But 8 of his last 9 have been top 31s at Colonial Country Club for Brian Harmon. And we're going to get plus 100 for a top 30. So that seems fair to me. And then Tom Hoagie. This guy's been a top 20 beast the last little while. Plus 180 for a top 20 for Tom Hoagie. At an iron-intensive golf course where you just got to hit greens and pound them and pound them and pound them, he's the second best in the field. So give me Tom Hoagie in that market. We've got 2 top 10 bets, 2 top 20s, a 30 and a 40. So go back, rewind, or I can just go with Scotty Scheffler top 10, Denny McCarthy top 10, Max Homer top 20, Tom Hoagie top 20, Brian Harmon top 30, and Lucas Glover top 40. We'll have to figure out a different way to kind of rattle those off because on my part, I've got my screen. You can see it all going on there. But that's my card for the week. Those are my placement bets. There's a lot of them. It's just how I do it. I don't know why. It worked out. It's always worked out this way. So,
all right. So I forget what we do next. I guess next we do the course, right? So let's move on to this week. The PGA Tour is going to head to Dallas-Fort Worth. Okay, here's the story. Dallas-Fort Worth. One of my favorite cities down in that area. If you're ever down in that area, my favorite strip club is down there. It is Chicas Locas, right? The reason I enjoy that strip club is because I like Latino women. I like Latino women first, and I like that they don't speak English. It's like the greatest thing ever, right? I mean, they don't speak English. So last time I went there, I was talking to this chick, talking to this stripper, and she was trying to get me to the champagne room, to the back room. I was like, okay, how much? And she was like, yeah, $250. I was like, well, it's not bad. I was like, so what? She's like, $250, right? I don't saying it. I think she said it half in Spanish, because she literally could not speak English except for one word. I asked her, what do I get for the $250? First word out of her mouth, sex. I was like, I'm in. So it was great. One of my favorite places down there. Now, here's the problem. I do have a nickname down there. I've told this story before because that same lady, last time I went there, it was right in the middle of COVID. So it'd been like months before since I seen like a fucking woman, right? So I didn't get laid. So, that was like one of the first times. Literally, I was finishing like 64 seconds, maybe like 48 seconds. I was done. And so she basically called me. She said like Muy Rápido. That was my nickname. So my nickname basically. So every time I go to that strip club, like, oh, Muy Rápido is here, and all of them flock to me because they know they can make a pretty good amount of money in under a minute and a half. So there you go. I do love Chicas Locas down there. Chicas Locas down there in Dallas, and also Nick and Sam's. Nick and Sam's, one of my favorite restaurants I've ever been to. Me and my boss, we had just finished our job down there. We were celebrating, so we went to Nick and Sam's, and we ordered, first of all, we ordered 5 ounces of Kobe beef each, $75 an ounce minimum, right? We got the 50-ounce Chateaubriand. We got a couple ounces of caviar, couple pounds of king crab legs, much crazy dessert. We spent $1,800 on a dinner for 2. It was just me and my boss. But what we didn't realize was there was a group of hookers sitting right next to us. the entire time, and they saw us ordering what we ordered. So my boss, he was getting ready to leave. He had to use the restroom, and I'm getting up, and I see like these women that are just absolutely beautiful. And by then, we're a couple bottles of wine deep, a couple of old fashions deep. So I was like, hey, so I started talking to them. We ended up joining them. Didn't know they were hookers at first. I had an inkling, though. But so we sit there, and these are like, $1,000 a night, $1,500 a night women. And it was great because I was with my boss. And so I worked the game, and he paid for everything. It was a glorious, glorious night. One of the best trips I've ever taken. So I do love Dallas. I do love Fort Worth, one of my favorite cities down there. So that's where the PGA Tour is headed this week for the Charles Schwab Challenge, invite-only tournament with around 130 golfers. The cut still being top 65 in ties. Only around 55 to 60 golfers are going to be cut rather than a normal 80 or so. The course seems to favor experienced golfers. Since 2001, the winners of this event have averaged around 7 appearances at Colonial before their victory. Only 8 golfers in 70 years have gotten their maiden victory here. 7 years ago, Jordan Spieth was the youngest winner at Colonial since 2001. The year before, Chris Kirk had just turned 30 when he got his win. Berger was 27 4 years ago when he won on the heels of the COVID break. 3 years ago, Kokrat won at 36. 2 years ago, Burns won at 25. Last year, Grillo won at 31. The youth movement has taken over the winner's circle 4 of the last 9 years, but every other golfer that has won here between 2002 and 2021 was above 31 years old. The old guys definitely live this week on this type of course, Harris English and Justin Rose. Now, weather also plays a factor, as it does on most Texas courses. The winning score here has fluctuated between -9 and -21 the last decade. The biggest reason for the scoring difference is Mother Nature. Taking a glance at the forecast, it looks like it'll be comfortable temperature-wise all 4 days, but we can see gusts in between 25 to 30 miles per hour every day. If the wind forecast is correct, and these greens are firm and bouncy, which 50-50 maybe, we'll have to see. Definitely check out Golf Channel this week to try and get all the information you can for people on the ground when it comes to that. But if the wind forecast is correct and these greens are this bouncy, we could see fucking carnage. Like literal fucking carnage. We haven't had one of those in a while. And this could happen. I mean, I'm thinking single digit under par, to low double digit under par winning score. And that's, on the high side. If it's going to be that windy and it's going to be firm and it's going to be fast, you can see, like I said, -9 was the lowest that has won here in the last decade. The highest score, I think you could see it higher if that happens. Now, if I'm wrong about the greens and this rain is really torrential and the greens are soft, that changes everything, right? So we definitely have to really pay attention to what the golfers say leading up to this event and what we see. So get all the information you can, I think, before you make your final lineups. Now, the big change this year, of course, is the redesign by Gil Hanse. Gil Hanse has done a bunch of great redesign at Hills, a lot of like PGA Championship type courses. He has become a master at this renovation, and I expect him to make this course really, really good. $21 million spent on the redesign in 12 months. To get this done in 12 months is pretty batshit crazy. So we'll have to see about that as well. Now, while the routing and the look of the course is still going to be familiar, there was 80 yards added in length, which I don't think it's going to make a big deal. Barrancas were added, new grass everywhere, and an adjustment of a couple of tee boxes. Before we move on, Byron, what's a barranca?
It's a dry riverbed.
There you go. All right. There's a bunch of those down there. They use those for drainage now. So the big thing about this course, another thing added with the redesign is a lot easier drainage on the course so they can handle a lot more water and humidity. Now, there's new grass everywhere and an adjustment of a couple of tee boxes. Hanse also eliminated some greenside bunkers and made them grass bunkers. The biggest change, in my opinion, will be on the greens. First off, new grass on greens, like I said, usually cause very firm conditions. There is heavy rain scheduled on Wednesday and a bit on Thursday, but I expect the weekend either way to be dry, and these greens could be very firm by Sunday, and that's what I'm hoping. Let's see. In my opinion, the around the green, in my opinion, if this is the way it's going to be, and these greens are really, really bouncy, and it's going to be already difficult to hit these greens, I'd probably bounce up a little bit of around the green play. I know it really hasn't affected too much of the winners in the past, but it could be a different animal this week with these new greens. Now, Colonial is one of the stickiest courses when it comes to course history. You might want to take it down just one notch. I wouldn't not look at course history, but maybe I wouldn't put it in like the top 2 things I look at, maybe the top 4 things I look at, because normally in this event, it would be a top 2 thing because of how sticky the course history is here. So now let's get to the course. Colonial Country Club, 7,280 plus yard, par 70 with 4 par 3s and only 2 par 5s. The par 5 first hole is reachable in 2 by most golfers, and if the fairways are playing firm, the par 5 11th could be reachable by the longer hitters as golfers willing to take advantage of the rollout. There aren't too many eagles at Colonial, but these 2 par 5s are still the easiest holes, especially when compared to the rest of the course. Overall, though, these 2 par 5s are some of the hardest on tour, so I would focus my attention more on par 4 scoring instead of par 5 scoring this week. Off the tee, golfers are going to see tight tree-lined fairways with bunkers in play on most tee shots and water a factor on a few holes. Usually the Bermuda rough isn't too high, but it is wiry and has a penchant for grabbing golf balls and sinking them to the bottom of the grass. And if these greens are as bouncy as I think they could be, hitting in the rough is not going to be pleasant. In other words, the majority of golf balls that hit the rough, they won't be fluffed up like a lot of stuff that we've seen this year. This Bermuda rough, it really can sink the ball down, cause fire lies. It could be a pain in the ass. There are many dog legs, making it much harder to just bomb drives out here. Golfers need to hit certain spots to have a clear approach to the green. This leads to many golfers leaving their driver in the bag on a lot of tee shots, though Jon Rahm and others have gone against the trend as they have hit driver more the last few years. And Rahm, he played pretty well here in 2017 and 2018 with a higher drive rate than the majority of the field. Now, it's Rahm, one of the best drivers in the world. I don't know how much it's really going to affect with the field that we have here. Now, on approach shots, golfers will see small greens with some subtle undulation. Now, the undulation probably going to be a little bit more present. Now, you're going to be seeing a little bit more movement on these greens, and Gil Hanse is really known for subtle changes that dramatically change the way you approach your putting on greens. So even if it doesn't look like there was a lot of difference, there's going to be some things where guys who have played this course for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, right? They're going to notice some differences. There's going to be some slight changes, even though visually it might not be apparent. Now, the bunkers and grass bunkers are going to be very prevalent around the greens, and they're normally set up in front of the putting surface. The greens use bank grass and should be fairly quick with a stick meter rating of around 12. The course is well known for a very difficult 3-hole stretch from holes 3 to 5, nicknamed the Horrible Horseshoe. Hole 3, long par 4. Hole 4, I think, is a long par 3. Hole 5 is almost a 500-yard par 4. Now, the thing about these holes is crazy. In the last 35 years of this tournament, those 3 holes have played nearly 8,000 strokes over par, while the other 15 courses have played 800 strokes under par. So, yeah, those courses, those holes, you're not going to win the event from those, but you can lose the event right away from those 3 holes. Now, a couple of other things to think about. I know Pat talked about this on his research show this past Sunday. He was talking about how for Showdown, it's probably a very good strategy to go with golfers who start on the 10th hole. Why? Because the 18th hole and the 17th hole, two of the easier holes with the higher birdie rates in this course, right?
Yeah.
Then one is the easiest hole on the course. Two, not difficult, pretty easy. Like you can get your 3 birdie in a row thing like pretty easily, but it's going to have to be from guys who start on the back nine. I don't play Showdown, but I heard that from Pat. Figured I'd pass along the information. Byron, what are you looking for in golfers this week?
Very valid stuff from Pat there, Kenny. While you were speaking, I just couldn't help but think the Charles Schwab Challenge, brought to you by Chicas Locas in Dallas Fort Worth.
I probably shouldn't have said nothing because when I went there, I'll let you know this. Their champagne room had been taken down, right? Because they had gotten busted for, do you know what they got busted
Whatever
for?
they were doing down
there.
So
what they had to do was the whole upstairs used to be a champagne room, but it was just an open room with all these huge, like 7-foot-high back chairs all along the wall. So what the girl did was it's made like a wall of chairs, right? Just a wall of chairs around you. Then that was your area. Again, I love that place. I love it. But go on.
So I was just going to say the greens are bouncy and it's playing firm and fast. So a lot going on there, Kenny, but I think you nailed it. Not too much more for me to kind of add. Again, we've got weather, we've got a brand new golf course, we've got brand new grass. It's going to be an interesting week. The week after the PGA Championship, man. So another, post-major event.
All right, that sounds good. So let's go ahead and let's get to these tiers for this week. In the 10K range, we have Homa all the way up to Scotty. I'm playing Scotty, no matter what. I mean, second and the third here the last couple of years. You see what he's done. I'm playing Scotty. And now here's the thing. There's like guys I really love in the 8K range. And what I like to do if I like love a couple of guys in the 8K range is make them my highest owned, like 40, 45%, and then sort of space out the top guys at like 40, 30, 30, right? So I'm going to start with one of these top guys and it's no problem. And then it allows me to go 40, 30, 30 and still have two guys because I want like 2 or 3 guys at 40 plus a week is 2 or 3. Usually in this week I'm making 40 lineups. Last week I made 50. And so that's the way I like doing it. So I think I'm going to play Scotty. I think I'm going to play Morikawa now that you talked me into him. Everything you said made complete sense. I might just stop at those 2. We'll see. And then go with my other 30 with like either Siwoo or Sungjae or something down here. But we'll see. What are you doing about Spieth? Because, I mean, he played decent last week. He was not bad. At one point, I think he was 6 under par on Saturday before he sort of blew up on Sunday. Like, this course is his baby, right? Like, he's played this course dozens of times, and he's always had top finishes here. I think he might have missed the cut last year. I'm not sure. But
I think he did. I think he did,
right? So, I mean, and then this is Homa. Homa you got down here also, who, has a top 10 here. Any course Homa has a top 10 in the past, I'm probably going to play him again. But I'm not sure. I like Morikawa a lot. I have to do something like Scheffler. Do you see ownership on these bottom 2 being drastically lower than the top?
I would imagine. I think Colin's just putting forth just too good of a performance right now, and I think he's going to be the guy that people go to instead of Scotty. The people that don't pick Scotty.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Keep going.
Yeah. I think that's basically where they're going to be doing that. I think then next in would be Max after Colin, and then I think Spieth is just being too inconsistent for people to go to. It's just even at a venue that he's shown the propensity to play well at, he's shown us that that's not the case this year anymore. He's sucked it up at a lot of courses.
Subs 15%, and I can get double the field on him at my 30.
Yeah.
I might do it.
Yeah.
I might do it.
I would be shocked, Kenny, if he's more than 15% because he's just playing so poorly right now.
Here's the thing. If he's like single digit owned,
yes,
you can go 20% and be double the field. We'll have to see on the ownership when it comes down to it. But so I'm guessing you're a Morikawa man up here, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We've already spoken about that. So let's move on to the 9K range. Go ahead.
Cool. I'm going to go with Harris English and Tom Hoge in this range. I think they are two guys that have done their thing, two different types of golfers. Hoge, one of the best iron players in the field, in fact, the second best behind Scotty. And then we get Harris English, who's been remarkably consistent the last little while. And he's showed up at the PGA Championship, and he showed up here last year. I think he was right in the mix, I think in the final group going into Sunday, and then kind of sucked it up. So he's going to be in the mix there for sure. I like Harris English. I know you've mentioned Brian Harman's one of your favorites too. I think, 2 or 3 years ago, Brian Harman was like one of the biggest chalk bombs ever to kind of hit at Charles Schwab. Everyone was on him, and he missed the cut that week. And then the fact that I'm limiting the majority of my guys up top there, I don't know how much Scotty I'll be playing, but I'll be playing a lot of Colin and then Min Woo as well. I don't know how much. I won't be playing a lot of him, but I think he'll be less popular than Tony and Siwoo because of the course history. He's weird. He's like, I don't get him. My model doesn't get him. It doesn't make any sense. But if his ownership's going to be low, I'll take Min Woo Lee as well. He can do what he did at the Cognizant again, basically. I'm hoping.
I like English. I'm fading Hoge and I'm fading Min Woo. I think Hoagie's going to be extremely high owned, like one of the highest.
Because of Pat?
Probably, but I mean, like, he just fits. I've heard other people talking about him as well. The reason why is because this fade is based upon the course and the greens being bouncy. And the thing about it is you're around the green play hasn't really meant that much to the people who have been done well at this event. But I think it's going to be put up a little bit more. I think you have to think about it a little bit more because of these greens. And he's so bad around these greens that, if he's getting ownership and being one of the 2 or 3 highest owned, or one of the top 5 highest owned in this 9K and up range, it's a pass for me. Min Woo, there are arguments for him because of that driving iron. He's pretty accurate with that driving iron, and he can shape it both ways, which you need at this course. I just don't think that. I think his biggest advantage, of course, is his drive on how far he hits it, and his iron play is just not great, right? It is probably the worst, other than fucking Spieth in this field in the last 24 rounds. So I'm not going in, but I do have 2 cash game cornerstones and 2 GPP plays I like here. My first cash game cornerstone is going to be Finau. Like I said, I think he found something last week. It looks like the game is there. Even if the game's not there, he just makes cuts, right? He just makes a lot of cuts. So even if he sucks and he finishes 43rd, at least he made the cut and I got a chance, right? So I'm going to go there, but the upside's obviously there. I think these are the type of events that he can win. There's not that many great players. Like, he wins events with like not great fields. That's sort of his shizzle. So this is not the best field. So I like Tony a lot this week, and he has good course history, and I think he could do well. Again, piggybacking off of what he did last week with a top 20 at Valhalla. Next, my second cash game cornerstone is going to be Brian Harman. Again, a guy who's played this course well before, except, of course, the year you talked about. The game seems like it should fit this. He's number 6 in my model, one of the best from 400 to 450 yards, where there's going to be a good amount of par 4s. Really good from 150 to 175. You're going to see a shit ton of approaches from there. Really good on par 4s, period. Good on bogey avoidance. He just fits everything. So I like him as my second cash game cornerstone. For the GPP players, give me the Koreans. Give me the Koreans. Siwoo basically has finished 25th or better in every event this year except majors. Just don't play Siwoo at majors, and you'll be good. Just don't play Siwoo at majors. You'll be good. I like Siwoo a lot. Sungjae showed some shit. He was all right last week. He was, top 10, top 15 at a certain point in time. Week before, last time I played was the Heritage. Similar type course when it comes to target golf instead of bomb and gouge. And he finished top 5 right there. So give me a little bit of Sungjae. let's move down to this 8K range. Go ahead there, my South African friend.
Yes. So Billy Horschel, that's going to be my guy. I think Bezzy's going to be very popular. The thing about Bezzy is we've got that 1 second place finish, and that's it. We haven't had any top fives from him for a while. Billy just won, I believe, at the alternate event. So he's showing some good form. Billy, I think, top 10 or top 12 the PGA Championships. I mean, the guy's starting to find himself a groove. I don't mind him whatsoever. And then Denny McCarthy, I know he's struggled around here before. I'm going to take a chance on the fact that he just scrambles his way. Like, if it gets ridiculously difficult, he's one of the best scramblers in the field. So he can chip and putt his way around these brand new greens just fine. Justin Rose entering the week off of a bit of form at the PGA Championship. Didn't quite show up in the final round there, but
he was all right.
Nice. Yeah, I think he gained like
bogeyed a couple at the end, but I mean, at one point he was at 16.
Yeah, he wasn't like completely out of it. He had a shot for sure. And he's got fantastic course history. I think he's won here before too. So a lot of I think I bet Justin Rose to win it last year, and then he missed the cut, or he lost 4.5 strokes putting or something ridiculous. Like, he just did something stupid shit, and that happened. So going back to him again, and then like I mentioned, Sepp Straka. This dude has just been playing far too consistent, far too well, for far too long. Missed the cut at the PGA Championship, unfortunately, but I think we're going to see another top 20 from him going into the week. He's just playing too good a golf at $8,300, and then I feel like one loss snag is Keegan Bradley, who led the field in strokes gained off the tee at the PGA Championship. That to me means that his game on the ball striking front is back. I think his iron play, his driving is going to be there. At $8,100, take a gamble on the putting and see what happens. But those are my guys.
I think Gil Hanse redesigned TPC Boston too. I'm not sure about that. Don't quote me on that. I know Boston at least has the bent grass, similar type bent grass greens as they do here. And of course, we saw Keegan win that event last season. Mm-hmm. Rose is my third cash game cornerstone. I'm going with the old man vibe. Old man can really perform well this course. He showed a lot last week. I actually had Rose to win the Masters as a sneaky, crazy pick at the beginning of the year. And then I guess I was, one event off because he did finish pretty highly with a top 5, top 10 finish last week. And he's finished, top 10 here almost every time, or top 20 here almost every time. So give me Justin Rose as my third cash game cornerstone. When it comes down to it, I like Chris Kirk, another guy, when it comes to his course history, it seems like this course should fit the way he plays his game. Top 15 in strokes gained tee to green in this field, top 20 in strokes gained, par 4 scoring in this field. I do like your Keegan play. I really like Detry. I think a win's coming soon. The guy's just been really, really strong on a bunch of different types of courses. So I like him. A really good showing, the top 10 last week at Valhalla. And I like Tom. Again, Tom Kim, another guy who's accurate off the tee, who can come in and take this and hit all the fairways that he needs to give him good chances at getting approaches tight. So I do like Tom, who's had a couple of top 20s. It seems like he's trending upwards after being on sort of a downhill trend for the beginning of the year. It looks like it's coming back up for my Korean brethren. All right, so 7K range. Let's move on. Just going off the top, Aaron Rai sticks out a bunch with his iron play, how strong he is tee to green, how he avoids bogeys, second in this field in fairways gained outside of Morikawa, I think. So it seems, but the thing about Rai, right? The thing about him is when people are on, he's one of those guys. When people are on him, he fucks up. When no one's on him, he goes ham. People are going to be on him this week. And everything that I'm seeing makes fucking sense for him to be a good play.
Too much sense.
It's just some weird shit happens with Aaron Rai, right? So we'll have to see about that. But Taylor Moore out there making every fucking cut possible. Because around the green game is strong, so you don't have to worry about that if the greens, are super, super bouncy. Who else do I like down here? Lucas Glover. Lucas is actually my final cash game cornerstone. My fourth cash game cornerstone. Again, the guy just makes every fucking cut.
Yeah.
Right? 11 to 12 cuts The floor is there. He's played this event. I think he hasn't played it in a while, but when he has, he's played it well, right? He is actually third in my model, top 10 in approach, top 5 in tee to green, second in par 4, and he's really good from 400 to 450 yards. Just makes a lot of sense. So my cash game cornerstones for this week are going to be Tony Finau at $9,900, Brian Harman at $9,500, Justin Rose at $8,500, and Lucas Glover at $7,500. Other guys I do like in this upper 7K range, a little bit of Berger, former winner. Looks like his game's coming back a little bit. I'll play him a little bit. And also Ekro. We'll see how popular he gets. The worry I have is him being like the most popular 7K guy. If this is going to be a carnage type week, avoiding the chalk under 8K, probably a wise idea. And I expect him to be super chalky. We shall see. I listen to Andy Lack's podcast, one of my favorites out there, Inside Golf, and he's huge on him. So that makes me a little bit worried, right? But I don't know. If he's like the highest owned guy in the 7K range, I'm not sure if I'm going to jump on board. But is he a 2-time winner? I mean, I don't know. Because he's already won once. So we'll have to see. Who do you like in this upper 7K range?
Well, yeah, that's the thing, is you're getting the 12th best ball striker in the field. You're getting a guy that's got top 30 course history. You're getting just a guy who played nicely at a major, and he's $7,500. Like, I've got him ranked 5th, is Austin Eckroach. He's going to be very popular. So maybe cash game cornerstone is going to be the way you want to look at it there.
I had him in there. I changed my mind.
Yeah.
I went with Glover, and I'm seriously thinking about fully fading Eckroach. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, you never freaking know what happens with these. It's golf. We're playing in Texas. Chicos Locos, let's see what happens.
I probably won't play Rye and Eckroach. I'll probably have to pick one, I think.
That's fair. That's also a solid way to go about it, Kenny, I would say. Lucas Glover's upside is just like, where the hell is it? But that safety. It's like so hard to pass up an 80% cut rate. That's delightful. Lee Hodges, and then one of the guys I'll be playing in like a very volatile lineup is Kevin Yu. I've also bet the guy plus 600 for a top 10. I think that's the way to kind of get behind this dude, is just look for that upside and just go for it. I mean, when you see this, like when he gets hot, he gets hot. I don't know. Maybe this course plays easier in the wet conditions. Who the heck knows? That's the fun part. And with him, his upside is there, but his downside is very, very bad. So you want to dodge Kevin Yu if you think he's going to struggle this week, which he likely will, but his upside's always beautiful. Doug Gim, I mean, at a golf course like this, he's going to give you that safety, that guaranteed top 40 type situation for him.
Basically, anyone with the last name Kim, and Gim is Kim.
Yeah, Kim. Yes, exactly. So
Gim is Kim, because in Korean, there is no hard K sound. So in Korean, my last name would be Kim, right?
There we go.
When his family came to America, they just didn't change that. They just made a GH instead of Kim.
Beautiful. And who also sounds like that, Kenny, is Emiliano Grillo. There's somewhere in there. He's been so bad, but he's got ridiculous pedigree at this golf course. So, if he's a low-owned option, you can go to him. If he's popular, because of the course history, leave him alone.
Grillo outside the top 40 in strokes gained approach in the last 24 rounds in this field.
Yeah.
Like, he's usually a great iron player. That's his shit. Right?
Yeah.
I don't see it for Grillo. I'll go back to Shekopotamus, who was in the playoff last year with Grillo. I'll go back to him with a solid second place last year, really good from 150 to 175. I'm thinking about Højgaard a little bit. I think he's going to be low. He doesn't really fit the profile of this course, other than the fact he's really good from the proximity ranges that we're looking for here. I think I can get by him on a single-digit ownership type of play. And if you're looking for another pivot play from Eckroach, I think Putnam almost rates out just as good. Actually, I have Eckroach at 37th in my model, and I have Putnam at 10th. When it comes down to it, he hits a lot of fairways, really good from 400 to 450, really good around the green, 11th in approach play in the last 24 rounds in this field, avoids bogeys. I like Putnam as a GPP play down here, and I'll play a little Brendan Todd. This is a Brendan Todd type course. Dink and dunk, get your thing done. He's really good at that. I'll go Todd, father, who made the cut last week, and of course he probably shouldn't have fucking made the cut on.
No.
So he's playing with a little bit of Mo. So let's go ahead and use him. Let's go down to the 6K range. Who you got, brother?
I'll go ahead and mention a CT Panama. I think he's always a live option. The guy's boom or bust. You're going to get, that's what you're looking for in the 6K range. Like you can pair him with like a Lucas Glover and hope for the fact that Lucas makes that cut, and then you've got that upside still in CT at $6,500. I think it's not quite 6K, but it's 7,000 flat is Bobby Mack. I'm very interested in, at a golf course like this, he's not a birdie maker, he's a scrambler. So if this course plays to -8, it suits his game perfectly. He just had a top 10 in a major. That's Bobby Mack's probably one of his best tournaments of his career. You got to imagine his confidence is flying high. So give me him. Let's see what he can do. I think other options in this range, like you mentioned, Andrew Novak has been playing fantastic golf. I think he's definitely going to be on my card. And then I'm going to just kind of go back to Grayson Murray, who is doing really weird things for me, Kenny. He took care of business for me at $5,300 last week. He's $6,100 this week. He's got tons of distance, but his irons have been really good the last little while. Played nicely at a major, made another cut at the major, I think 41st or something like that. So love what he's up to, see what he can do. Another option that I want to mention, and I guess we're getting into the fives, is Ryan Moore. He's perfectly tailored for this kind of a golf course. Short off the tee, but very accurate, very good with his irons. Doesn't make birdies a lot, but avoids the bogeys. So those are options I'll be looking at here in the bottom of the sixes and early fives. Sorry.
Give me a little Nate Lashley at $6,900. He hasn't really been playing that great, but the last time he played a course similar to this was the Players. He had a really nice week at the Players Championship. I don't think he's going to be super highly owned again, but he's a guy that's just a shit ton of fairways, really good from the wedge, from the proximities. I'm looking for and well above average around the green. So he's actually top 20 in strokes gained tee to green in this field in the last 24 rounds. So I do like Lashley. Again, I'm playing all the Kims, so SH Kim is another guy that I will be playing. Avoids bogeys. Again, good from 150 to 1. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong person. Avoids bogeys. Good from 175 to 200. Gets a fair amount of birdies. Can putt his ass off. Above average around the green. I think you really think about SH Kim more in events where you're not at a birdie fest. Actually, I think but he is 7th and birdies are better in the last 24 rounds in this field. So maybe I'm wrong about that idea, but it's just what I think whenever I think of SH Kim. Woodland, Gary. I thought he played pretty well here last week. I don't remember where he finished, but there was a point where I was seeing him on like the second page of the leaderboard. And also, his major was one at Pebble, another type of course where you're gonna have to target golf everything with extremely tiny greens. Woodland, we've always talked about in the past, is even though he hits the ball long, he tends to play well on shorter courses. I'm going to go to Woodland and see if I can get him before he starts really gearing up, because I think that could happen. I think he's getting over his issues with the brain lesion, the brain tumor on his fear center. It looks like he's better. I think we could see him in an upward swing towards the end of the year. Other guys down in the 6K range, I'm playing Novak, like I said, already bet him. Svensson with his iron game is somebody that I'm looking at. Dylan Wu's probably my favorite play. He's in my cash lineup, I think, as of now. He is in my cash lineup right now. Again, he's made a shit ton of cuts. He's just a cut maker at $6,100. It's pretty nice. I think he's made the cut here both. No, he hasn't played here before. But again, that stickiness of course history has sort of faded a little bit because of the renovations to the course. But when it comes down to it, Wu is 28th in my model, but top 15 in approach, right? Top 15 in 150 to 175. top 35 in 400 to 460 yard par fours. I like Wu a lot. He makes a lot of cuts. I think he's going to stay in my cash lineup. Now, in this 5K range, we're getting a little bit more tough. I mean, Rainey plays this course very well. Riley has played this course very, very well. If you're looking for course history stickiness, Ryan Moore is top 10 in my model. Iron game extremely strong, and he hits a shit ton of fairways. Like, that's like golden right there, exactly what you need. And he's middle of the road around the green. Not horrible, not great.
Yeah.
I think he can do something this week. Ben Cole's 5, right? I mean, 4 straight top 35s, including a top 30 last week. And of course, I don't think he should be getting a top 30 at. He's showing some metal out there. Another guy who hits a shit ton of fairways, which will be helpful this week, especially if those greens are super bouncy, like I think they will. Hitting in that rough, it could make it impossible to land on some of these greens. It's very possible.
Yeah.
If you see greens like what we saw at Quail, and you're in the rough here, I mean, if you're not hitting a pitching wedge or a 9-iron or lower, it's going to be very hard to stay on these greens.
Yeah.
Who do you like in the 5K range?
I'll go ahead and throw out Zach Johnson. Like, these are where you're looking for accurate guys, right? Zach Johnson.
I thought about that.
Think about what he gets up to. Joel Damon, hyper accurate. Chandler Phillips has been showing some love last little while. He's $5,300. So those are some names that I kind of bopped in the middle over here. I think those are the few guys I'll be mixing in with Scotty. The rest, I'm not going to really be dealing with this 5K range all that much. I think I'm going to be loving Colin and kind of going from down there. So I don't think I'll have to touch the 5s all that much this week, Kenny.
Yeah, I only think I only have 3 5K guys start for the week. Yeah. So it's looking a little bit rough. And that's the reason why I didn't go Scheffler and Cash. I have a lineup that I thought would be Scheffler that I might be able to use. That one is Scheffler, Rose, Kirk, Rye, Ben Cole's 5, and Dylan Wu.
Yeah.
Still, 2 guys at $6,100 or less is in cash. Like, I don't know. But that was the cash lineup I had with Scheffler. And it makes it not that easy. And compare that to the cash lineup I have without Scheffler, which is Finau, Harmon, Rose, Kirk, Glover, Wu. I mean, you got a lot more confidence in every single guy in that lineup going sort of more, my mind just went blank. Not stars and scrubs, balanced, right?
Balanced, yeah.
So I'll probably play that other Scotty lineup and I'll probably win all the monies and I'll lose in cash. But that's the way I'm going with it for now. All right. Anything else before we head out, my brother?
Jenny, I was going to say, can I recap all my bets? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, recap.
No. That's a joke about. I'll figure out a different way to bring those across next time.
Do the same thing. We'll give Mike some fucking work to do, right?
No, just happy some more golf. Some good golf. I'm shocked that Scotty's actually playing. I think it's going to be fun to see him do his thing in Texas. I'm loving watching him play golf nowadays. So looking forward to a fun time in Texas, and maybe Spieth shows up a little bit and makes the week a bit more exciting.
All right. Tell the audience where they can find you, my friend.
At The Model Maniac on X.com now. And you can find me at rotoballer.com, PGA. That's where all my stuff will be. And then just, catch me on Back 9 Bets on my YouTube channel. I think that's where I'm on there, usually for Sunday night streams. I crashed my bicycle on the weekend, so I didn't do that last night. But we are back in business going forward from there. And then Tuesday nights, I've got my show there. And then I'll be doing my Rotoballer show with Spencer Yad. 9:30 Eastern on the Fantasy Rotoballer channel on YouTube.
I'm lucky to have you and Tambo as my last 2 hosts because you guys work your ass off for this shit. It's unbelievable. I got an hour a week in me.
Kenny, you're an efficient guy.
An hour a week. I got an hour.
Muy rapido.
No, muy rapido, right? All right. Yes. So first off, make sure you join Underdog Fantasy using promo code Mayo. Get yourself up to a $250 deposit match. Get on that shit. I'm sure we'll get on a heater again here sometime soon. You're going to want to tail our shit. All right. You can find me on X at KendoVT. You can find my articles every week on gupscorner.com. Use promo code Kenny. Save yourself 30% on a sub to Gups Corner. It should be a fun week. I love the strip clubs down there. I love Dallas. Let's win some motherfucking money. Degen Nation. Lots of Koreans down there too.